morning, everybody, and welcome to our Monday morning Grow with Google class. This morning, we're having a little bit of a slow start, so I'm going to wait to lock out the class until we get going a little bit. I'm really excited to presenting this workshop. This workshop always gets fun because I always use my own personal stories, my own personal searching for job mishaps and how you can avoid those. And so you get to hear some fun information on me. For those that are joining us, please put in the comments or the chats whether you can hear me or not. I'd like to make sure that I'm coming across loud and clear. So if you're joining us on any of our live social media feeds, we're on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, as well as YouTube. Please let us know that you can hear me in the comments so that I can know that I am broadcasting properly. If you are joining us live on Zoom, please put that in the chat. Make sure that I am connecting properly with my mic. I know that one week that I was not on the right mic. I had my my lapel on, but I was broadcasting in the room mic, and so it didn't sound so great. So please let me know that you am coming across. Perfect. Thank you so much for putting that in the chat. So for those that don't know me, my name is Megan McFall. I am the Regional Director for the Small Business Development Center down here in Southeastern Utah, as well as I run this wonderful building called the Spark Center here for USU Blanding. And I am lucky enough to be able to teach these wonderful Google classes. I'm excited to be teaching today and to be a part of this series. We're going into what we call the Job Searcher series, or basically computer skills is kind of what we're going into. Last week, we talked about how to build your resume and how to improve your resume. This week, we're talking about how to search for jobs and how to have an impact on that. Starting next week, I believe, we are starting into what we call Learn the Basics. And the Learn the Basics is all the basics Google applications. And so we'll start with, and there's things like Drive and Docs and Slides and all of those basic applications, but we're going to deep dive into those. And so it's going to be a lot of fun. And they're all brand new to me. And so you get to, if you join us for that, get to see me teach those for the first time. So I'm sure I'm going to have a little bit of goof ups and things like that because it's all new curriculum for me. So I'm excited to have new things to be able to share with you. I'd like to thank our co-hosts and partners in this workshop series. First, obviously, Grow with Google. We appreciate their partnership with us to be able to present this information to you, as well as the Rural Online Initiative, or the ROI program. We appreciate them co-hosting all of these classes with us and to be able to distribute those nationwide. And actually, we're hitting worldwide now. As I looked at the email addresses, and we have several from the UK and Canada, and every once in a while we get some from Aussie and on the Asian Pacific Islands. And so it's a lot of fun to see that we're reaching quite the distance. So it's really, really cool. For those that are in Utah or will be in the Provo area for the ROI Summit on Wednesday, please come by and say hi. I leave tomorrow to go to that, and I'm really excited. So if you're going to be attending that, I would love to see you face to face, and would love to say hi. So I'm going to go ahead and get started today. One of the challenges that we face, or some of the challenges that we face, I should say, as we're looking for jobs within a different environment, we've kind of moved to a more remote setting where we're doing a lot of things online. And so we have fewer word of mouth opportunities where we're hearing about job opportunities, whereas maybe 10 years ago, it was a lot of word of mouth. We heard a lot of the executive and high level positions more by word of mouth, and it was more by who you knew. And a lot of that is kind of moving in a different direction. And so that is kind of becoming a shift in the work environment. The other thing is that we're seeing is distractions at home. As we're looking for jobs and we're making that shift, we're seeing distractions at home that are making it more difficult for us to search for jobs. And then the other options that we're looking for is we're also looking for remote work. Now that can be from many different fronts. Some of us started working at remote during COVID, and we liked it. And so we wanted to work a remote job moving forward. And whether that is you're changing to become remote permanently because your job required you to go back to work, or it's just a shift that you want to make in whatever that you're doing because you want to have that freedom to be to travel or to work at home with kids or whatever that looks like for you. It's different for everybody, right? And so those are some challenges that we're seeing in the work environment. So some tips as you're looking for jobs as you move forward. Keep your routine. Keep I'm going to work style routine, but instead of going to work, you're looking for jobs. Finding a job is now your job until you get one, right? Okay, create a dedicated work spot. There's nothing better than, and I am so guilty of this, nothing better than to sit in bed and pull out your computer, right, and work from bed, because it just is so like relaxing and comfy. But the realization is you just don't get as much done when you work that way. We need to train our brains that when we're ready to work, that we're at work, right? And so regardless of your situation, when I was, I'm lucky now to have a home office, but I haven't always been that way. And so like I had to have a certain spot at the kitchen table when I didn't have such a a home office, that was my work spot. So if I was working from home, I sat at that same chair, and I never ate at that same chair because I trained my brain to say if I sat at that chair, then I was working. And we have to kind of create that mentality, and it helps train our brain that when we're at work, or when we're searching for jobs, is kind of that same mentality. Okay, schedule those lunch and breaks. Okay, we tend to be, if you're like me at all, again, I use me as an example because I've made all of these mistakes. When Google sent these slides into me to teach, I kind of laughed because I felt like they were like kind of pointing at me. So we tend to, like, especially when we're at home, we tend to work, and we'll eat lunch while we work and do different things like that. We're not built to work for 8 hours straight, and we will actually become less productive and less creative when we do that. So schedule yourself a break or lunch every 90 minutes to 2 hours so that you can get up and move and kind of get the blood flowing again, for lack of a better term. Whether that's go outside for a 10-minute walk, or grab a snack, or grab your lunch, or whatever that looks. Every 90 minutes to 2 hours, you want to make sure that you're doing something, okay? Be sure that you have the tools that you need to be successful. When we're at home, we tend to not have the printers, the scanners, the staplers, the pens, whatever that looks like to be successful. Make sure you have the tools that you need to be successful. There's nothing worse than needing to do something and not being able to get it in on time because you don't have the tools to be successful. Okay, create a daily to-do list the day before. So before you close up for the day, create that to-do list, because you've just completed all your tasks for the day and you know what needs to be completed tomorrow. You haven't slept on it, you haven't done other things, and you don't have to kind of go back and rethink what you've just completed. You can start right then, take the last 15 minutes or however much time at the end of the day, write that to-do list so you're ready to go in the morning. You'll find yourself more productive, and you'll find that you're able to get a quicker start on your day doing it that way. Okay, give your coworkers some grace as you move into like the remote workspace, or you start doing video interviews and things like that. You're going to find that you're going to need yourself are probably going to need some grace as you're doing things from home. You might have kids or animals. My cat seems to think that a second I get on a video call, that my computer is the place to sit, and so I sit and fight my cat. And so I'll lock it out the door, and then you hear it meowing and batting at the door. Okay, those things are going to happen. Give those people some grace, because something without fail is going to happen. You're not going to hit the unmute button, or you're going to stand up and they're going to see your PJs on the bottom because you have your blouse on the top. Whatever that looks like for you, something's going to happen, and you're going to might need that same grace in return. Make sure that you're being that flexible. And then last but not least, if you're not at work, don't work. I am the worst culprit of this. I have my email on my phone, and if an email comes in and I can answer it really quickly, I'll email them back really quickly. And it's so easy, right? The problem is, as we get into that mentality and we're not as productive, number one, we don't give the full answers, but number two, we don't get that separation. We need to have a work-life separation from our life separation, so we can create a little bit of work-life balance and a little bit of separation so we feel like we have some normalcy. So those are some tips as you are working from home, whether you're looking for a job or you're moving into remote work. So on today's agenda, these are the things we're going to go over. We're going to track your job search using Google Sheets. We're going to find opportunities using Google Search. We're going to create a resume using Google Docs. And some of the tips we talked about last week, if you did not attend last week's, I encourage you to go and watch our YouTube video. It is uploaded. Create a resume with, create a resume through Google Docs. I already said that. And then create a strong interview or give a strong interview with Google Meets, and then learn from anywhere. I want to give you some resources that you can utilize from anywhere, which will be awesome. Okay, so track your job search with Google Sheets. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to get that Google Sheets tracker that we talked about last week. We're going to create that this week. So if you didn't join us last week, we're going to talk a little bit more about that. So the first thing we need to do is we actually need to log into our Google account. So go to google.com. In the right-hand corner, you're going to have your blue sign in. Click on that. Use your username and password for your Gmail account, and you can sign in and have access to all the applications that we talk about today. If you do not have a Gmail account, go ahead and create one. It's free, and it gives you access to all of these amazing applications that we talk about today, plus a lot more. Okay, so I'd like you to sign into your Google account. And then from there, once you're signed in, check up in that top-hand corner. If you're already signed in, make sure it's your initial up in that right-hand corner. A couple of our classes, now that we have kids working a little more remotely and on Google Classrooms and things like that, a lot of times they'll have a spouse or a kid or something other than you signed in there. If it is not you, click on that and go ahead and switch the account over and make sure you're creating stuff on your own account and not on somebody else's. We've had that happen a couple of times. But you're going to click on the Google application once you know that it is in your account. The Google application is also called the waffle. A lot of people call it. It's the 9-box square up in that corner. And then click on that. We're going to find Google Drive. Now your Google Drive is going to shift based on how often that you use the Google Drive button. So it might be at the top like ours is, or it may be down towards the bottom. You might have to scroll a little bit, but it may adjust. And so just know that it adjusts based on how often that you use it. Once you click on Google Drive, it will go to the Google Drive homepage. Now, depending on how often you use it will depend on what the homepage looks like. If you have files and things like that, ours is currently empty. Okay, from here, we're going to go to New. New's up in the left-hand corner. You're going to click on New, and we're going to go down to Google Sheets. We're going to use Sheets. And we're going to start a blank sheet because we're going to do this from scratch. So there's not a template to do this from. We're going to build it from scratch. So go up to New, Google Sheets, and then open a blank sheet. And then we're going to rename it at the very top. Now you can rename this anything you like. Right now it says Untitled Spreadsheet. You can rename it your job tracker. You can name it whatever you would like, but just double click on that little where it says Untitled Spreadsheet. And you can name it whatever you would like. If you don't rename your documents, you will have untitled document number 1, untitled document number 2, untitled document number 3. And it'll be very hard to distinguish what your items are. Okay, so once you open a sheets, this is essentially what they look like. Now, sheets are made up from cells that are columns and rows. Okay, each cell across are your columns, and they are lettered. Okay, each row down is numbered. So each cell has a name. So in that top hand corner, the very first cell would be A1. The cell kitty corner to that one would be B2. Does that make sense to you? So every cell has a name. So it corresponds. That way your formulas and items like that can be utilized as well. So we're going to go through here, and along the top portion, we're going to write the items that we would like to track. Now, common items are the things that we track are job title, the company name, maybe the salary or hourly rate that they're asking for, the website that we found the job listing on, and maybe some notes. There's some other things that you might want to add to this. For example, I should have added location to my job tracker. I did not realize when I applied for this job that the location was in Blanding, Utah. I thought I was applying for Logan, Utah, for the main campus of Utah State University. So small things like that that are going to make a big deal when you are applying for a job, you're going to want to track. If your location matters, you're going to want to track where you're applying for a job and make a big and make sure that you're keeping track of that information. The other note that I would encourage you to add to this is resume. We talked last week about the importance of tailoring your resume per job that you are applying for, which means that you're going to send out a different resume to every job that you're going to apply for. Now, if you send out a different resume to every job, that's going to make the interview very difficult unless you've read that resume and know what was sent out to every single employer. So if you have a column here that's listed as jobs, you can put the link from Google Sheet or Google Drive, into Google Sheets, and you have easy access to know exactly what was sent out to that employer and exactly what they've read so that you are up to date. If you are in digital design and things like that, you can also have a link to your portfolio that you've sent out to them or anything like that. I'm sure there's other industries that require a portfolio of sort, and so that's another option for that. Okay, so once you have all of that in place, you can format the cells any way you like. So you can bold the top title items, you can change the color of the fonts, you can change the color of the entire cell so that it sticks out and it's highlighted. You can change the style of the writing. You can change it so that it matches this particular branding if you're doing this for, say, something else other than a job tracker, and you need it to match the branding of, say, a business or a logo or something like that. Okay, so now that we've got our tracker set up, we need to find job opportunities, and we're going to utilize Google search to help us find our job opportunities. Now, Google search has some pretty incredible opportunities that we can utilize to find new opportunities within our area or within a certain industry or whatever that looks like. So anytime you go to google.com and you use their search bar and you type in jobs near me, or retail jobs, or part-time jobs, or maybe customer service jobs, or whatever that looks like for you, anytime you use the word jobs, it's going to automatically kick you over to the job searcher version of it. So you don't have to have a special website or anything like that. You just go to google.com and start searching, and it'll kick you over as long as you're using the word jobs. Okay. So from here, you can expand your search. This is an example of what that search looks like. Across the top gives you some filter items that can help you expand or reduce the search based on the information that you gave. So we were very, very vague in the information that we gave them. We wanted jobs near Memphis, Tennessee. However, we didn't give them any details. Like, we didn't give them a salary limit. We didn't give them a location, we didn't give them an industry, so they're going to give a lot of jobs that are available in Memphis, Tennessee. What we want to do now is figure out maybe how to filter that, how to figure out what's best for us in our opportunity. Okay, so if we want to review job possibilities, excuse me, I'm losing my voice already. That's not good. So if we want to review job possibilities that are near us, as we type in and we put in a specific jobs near us, but we want to filter that down into a specific category, then we can click one of those top menus, but also we can review the jobs on the side. And when you click on it, it'll bring up the job posting on the right-hand side of your screen as it's shown in the screen in front of you. So this is a little idea of what information is given to you via Google search. This is a snapshot. So this is a particular engineer job. It gives you options on how you can apply for this job. This shows you basically all the different locations where Google has found this particular job opportunity across the web. It gives you the salary information that is available. It gives you the job type, full-time, part-time, temporary, that kind of information. And it'll give you much more information that is available as it is available on that job. This is why you're going to want to keep those links that are available to you within your job searcher, because there's different applying methods that are available. So as we're going along, say we find and decide that we want to narrow our search. We decide that we want to work in a specific industry, or we decided we only want remote work opportunities, or we only want to be a sales representative, or whatever that might look like. So we can click on the filter options that are across the top. So right now we have all, and then if we click on the filter options, it'll filter out everything but the filter option that we select, and it'll give us the job opportunities within that filter option that will help us narrow what we want. So that might be by title or location. It might be by company or employer, different things like that. Post date as well. Okay. The other cool thing that they have added that I love, especially for those that have completed the ROI program, is the work from home option. So filtering from work from home, these are companies that are very specifically stated that these jobs are available from a work from home basis. And it'll bring those jobs available to you so that you can search through those, because that is becoming a more popular option as we move through 2022. As studies have shown. The other option is the no degree job near me is a new search option. No degree job needed, things like that, so that it brings up those options as well. Google has added that to the new options, or a new requirement for job postings. So that is a new filter. Okay, so for our veteran opportunities, Google has a separate search engine, for lack of a better term, within their search engine for veteran opportunities. So if you've been in the military and you are now looking for a job, or you're currently in the military looking for a job, if you put in veteran jobs or anything like that within the Google search, again, they're looking for that keyword. It's all done on IA. You're looking for that keyword, veteran specifically, is what that's looking for. Then it will kick you over into the veteran search option. Okay, here it will ask for your MOS code, and you can enter that MOS code. What it will do then is take your MOS code and search for job qualifications for your MOS code, so that you have those specific qualifications met and can apply for those jobs. From there, outside of that one change, everything else is exactly the same on the veteran side. So if you find a job that you absolutely love and you want to apply for it later, go ahead and click that save button that is on the right-hand side. And then that job will be saved for you under your saved options. If you look up there in the middle of that blue screen, then it has saved, and it'll show you the number of saved. If you click on that, it'll bring all the saved options that you have for you. So for everything that you're putting over in your job tracker, you're going to want to hit save on Google as well, and it'll make it easier to bring those back up when you're ready to apply for them. Somebody once asked me, why wouldn't I just apply for it immediately? Well, the most effective way in general for people to apply for jobs is to do a search and find several jobs that they want to apply for, and then go back and apply for them, so that they have a list of jobs. Because if you're applying for jobs in the same industry, you can do a resume and do small little tweaks for that same resume. So like, for example, this is a customer service representative. If you have 4 jobs that are customer service representative, you can essentially have your customer service representative resume and then go into each job and make those small little tweaks for each job, and it'll make applying for those much, much easier. Whereas if you find one job and then go and fill out and make your resume and send that off, and then go find another job and make a resume and then send that off, you tend to be much slower than if you were to have more jobs and then use those small little tweaks to match the job description, as we talked about last week, and be able to apply for more jobs at that same time. Okay, you also can set alerts up based on your search. So if you did a search, for example, for a customer service representative, and you liked what was coming up, but you could also set the set alert search button on, and it'll send alerts to your Gmail account when new jobs are posted, so that you get daily, weekly, whatever you set that up for, alerts saying, hey, there's new job postings, check these out. And it'll give you the list of the new job postings, because you've already set up those search parameters. There's no reason to go in and set the new parameters again, have those job alerts, and then you can also go in and turn those off when you have found the jobs that you would like. Okay, back to our Google Sheet tracking form. Now that we've found all of those jobs that we are super excited about to apply for, we're going to enter the information into our tracking sheet. So we found a service sales representative that works from home. Okay, this particular one is for a retail company. It's about $600 in salary. We've got the website. We're going to copy and paste the website over for where we can apply for it, and then any notes that we have about that job. And we're going to enter that within our job search. Again, there's additional information that I would encourage that you add, things like location, things like that, if it is important to you. Anything that is important to you is going to impact your ability to take that job. I would put that there. Benefits might be one. You might take a lower paying job if it has better benefits. So you might want to track that kind of information, things like that. Okay, so creating your resume. Now that we found this wonderful job, we need to go and create a resume. So we're going back to our Google Drive. Okay, we're going back into our left-hand corner, hit new. We're going to our Google Drive. This time we're going to Docs, but we're going to open from template. We're going to use one of the amazing templates that Google has come up with. The reason why we're going to use a template is because Google has taken time and painstakingly researched what templates and spacing and all the different things about these different templates and created them for you. So you don't have to take that time to do it. And it has several different options available for you. It has creative ones and it has very professional ones. Now, whether you want a creative one, like we talked about last week, or whether you want a very professional one will depend on the industry that you're in. If you're in a very creative industry, you might want a creative one. If you're in a very professional business type industry, you want a very professional one. If you don't know, talk to somebody that works within that industry or within that company and see what is best for that particular company. So once you've opened the templates and decided on your template, we're going to use this particular template. We need to rename this just like we did the other one. So instead of having it say Docs template, we're going to change that to our resume. And then we're going to change the information. All of the information in the template is basically filler information. We have to go in and add our information so it matches what we're looking for. So as you go through and you start filling that information, you can make adjustments and add text so that it fits you and fits your personality. Right now, all of those placeholders are just showing you where to put everything. You can also change the colors. You can change the font style, things like that, so that it fits you. Okay. Your formatting can also be adjusted if you select it. And then you can change the different formatting to a different style that'll fit your personality. But also remember to always keep the font a readable format, because as HR and hiring committees are looking at resumes, remember how many resumes they're going to have to look at. Some of these companies are looking at hundreds of resumes. Remember, their eyes get tired after a while. They only have 6 to 10 seconds to capture their attention. And if you have a hard to read font, they're going to lose them and they're not going to get the information out of your resume. So keep the fonts easy to read. Next, inserting comments. So if you have a resume, before you send it out, you probably are going to want somebody to proofread it or to add some information. Or maybe you don't have all the information that you need to fill in all of the gaps. You might need to look up a date, or you might need to figure out some information to get some details. You can highlight a specific section that needs to be adjusted, and you can add in a comment. Now the comment bar is up towards the top. There's a little like quotient plus with a plus in the middle, or as you highlight on that right-hand side, there's automatically going to be a comment queue in that you can click as well. So there's those two options. Once you click that, you can type in that information. So in this particular example, we have to find the exact start date for that particular job in order for it to be correct. Okay, so making copies and editing for different jobs. So if you have a standard resume that has your basic information that you're looking for, and you're going to use that over and over again, and it just make adjustments for your job, like we talked about earlier. If you have a customer service job and say you have 5 of them and they're pretty much the same, you just need to make small little tweaks, then this is what you're going to do. You're going to go into the file, make a copy, rename it to whatever you would like. I used to name it by company, and then the resume, but you can name it whatever you'd like. And then make those adjustments so that you don't have to start from scratch every single time, because that would take forever. But you can basically adjust it so it fits every single job, and you're fitting those keywords and those action words that they're looking for within that resume. Okay. Now, once you're done, you probably want somebody to proofread it and go over the details of your resume, making sure that they don't have any comments or suggestions and things like that. So you can share your resume. Up in that right-hand corner, there's a share button. If you click on that, you'll have the opportunity to share it with people. So if you click on that, it brings up the share screen. You need their email address, and then you get to choose at what level they have to share. So they can either comment, they can view only, or they can make edits. Now, on a resume, I would highly encourage you to only allow them to make comments, because you don't want them to go in and make a bunch of edits and you're not exactly sure what they edited, and then have that come back to you, and you have to sit there and compare back and forth and say, yeah, that's what I want. Yeah, that's what, okay, that looks good, because it'll take you too much time. But if you go and have them be a commenter, they can go in and put those comments along the sides of their information and highlight what they think and put those comments in, and then you can decide whether to add that or not, so that you're not rebuilding a resume after they've done a ton of edits, because I've had that done before and that was a mistake. So just a suggestion for you. Okay. Now, to copy a link, to link it over back into the spreadsheet cells like we talked about before, you go back up into the share, and down towards just underneath it says get a link. So you can get a link and copy that link over, and we can go into our spreadsheets. Is it going to show us? Oh, there it is. Okay, go back into our spreadsheets, and into that specific cell that we want to add it to, you can paste it within that specific cell. So then you have easy access to the resume that was created specifically for that company. You know exactly what was written for those jobs, what details were sent out, things like that. And then you can go and review that resume before you're able, before you go into an interview, and make it a much easier process. Okay. Giving a strong interview with Google Meets. Now, a lot of first interviews and sometimes all interviews are becoming virtual interviews, which has become a great option, especially if you're looking for a national job, however, or a remote job. However, being able to interview remotely or interview virtually and feel comfortable with it is going to be really, really important. So I encourage you to get on and practice. Get comfortable being on camera. It takes a while. It's not always easy. I know who's comfortable on camera based on who comes on camera and who's not doesn't come on camera for classes and things like that. But make sure that you feel comfortable on camera so that you are there with confidence, and that's going to be important. So Google Meets is a great opportunity for you to do that, and to be able to have mock interviews with friends and family, to be able to get that comfortability before you go into an interview, so you're not nervous. So some interview practices that you're going to want to have. So look forward into the camera and not at the picture of the person. Okay, you want to make sure that you're looking straight at them. It makes it more of a connection, like you're in the same room. Okay, speak slowly and clearly. Pay attention to the lighting. You want to make sure that you have great lighting, whether that is sitting in front of a window so that you're getting the natural light, or sitting in a well-lit room. Either way, okay? Make sure you have a neutral background, because very colorful backgrounds and things like that can get very, that can be distracting, but it also can hurt eyes after a while if it's a long interview. The other thing is if you are doing a virtual background, make sure your clothing does not kind of mess with that background, so that you're like missing half an arm or it kind of covers up part of your body as you're going through, because that can be distracting as well. So pay attention to that as you're going into your interview, making sure that it fits and it doesn't become distracting. Okay, dress professionally. Dress as if you're going in face to face from head to toe. The big thing and the big joke is, and I've done it myself again, to have pajama bottoms on the bottom and the bust on the top and looking, you know what I mean? Make sure you're doing head to toe. You will be more confident going into an interview when you are dressed fully professionally and ready to go for that interview. Okay. And then last but not least, practice. Okay. So we've utilized Google Sheets, Google Search, Google Docs, and Google Meets today as we've gone throughout this webinar. So our next steps is to create the job search tracker with Google Sheets, search for jobs and filter the interesting opportunities in your area. Use Google Docs to create your resume using their templates, and choose one that will fit your industry, your experience, and your style as well. Experience a mock interview using Google Meets, and then consider other professional workshops that can help you build your career. And that's what we're moving into this next, is career building workshops. So learning from anywhere is important and is becoming more and more important as we move through COVID, and we're continuing moving forward. It's a style that's going to continue on. If you would like to learn more about the Google applications and how to get really proficient in those, you can go to Applied Digital Skills or google.com or g.co/applied digital skills. And you can utilize that platform to have free lessons in applied Google skills, become proficient. We also have a certification if you're looking for a certification to go on your resume for Google, the Google Workspace certificate that can help as well. Whoops, wrong button. Sorry, guys. Okay. If you like 5-minute lessons that are quick and easy, I encourage you to download Primer. Primer will send you a daily 5-minute lesson that will help you learn something new every single day and keep you on track. The Google Professional Certificates is an amazing opportunity. Google looked into the industries that were missing several employees, 1.3 million currently. And these are the 5 areas that they're missing people in. Our center is one of the lucky centers that was chosen to have actual scholarships for these certificates and offer them through our center here. Our website's down at the bottom if you're interested in a scholarship for a Google Professional Career Certificate. You can also get more information at grow.google/certificates on each of those certificates as well. Okay, online training is available for teachers, local businesses, job searchers, and developers at grow.google.com. And last but not least, you have all of these resources available to you to learn about each individual application that's available through Google, all free of charge to you. So thank you for joining us today. Let's go ahead and open up to Q&A. Let me go ahead and stop my share. I don't know why I do that before I hit exit, but I always do. Let me bring up all of our social media accounts. If you have any questions while you're on Zoom, feel free to put those in the chat. If you are on our social media platforms, please put those into the comments as I bring it up. And let's get your questions answered as we go through this. What is next week's class title? Let me look. So on May 5th, we're doing Boost Your Business Growth and Branding with Google and Canvas. And that's on May 5th. That is a live stream that we'll be doing from our center. And then next Monday's class is Learn Basics with Google Drive, and starting that Learn the Basics series that I just talked about. Any other questions? I will be starting a Google certificate cohort this week. So if you're wanting to apply for a scholarship, get it in so I can get it approved and get that information, because it's the first week of the month. I want to get those started this week. So I'm being asked if we can find notes anywhere on this class after. So ultimately, the answer to that is we do download this on our resume, or on our resume, on our YouTube channel. So you have a copy of the entire unedited, well, we take out the music in the beginning, the unedited version of the class on our YouTube channel. So everybody has access to that. And then I just dropped into the comments the notes basically from Google that has the step-by-step information that that they have. So that should suffice, I would guess. If there's anything specific that you're looking for, let me know and we can go over where you can get that as well. Any other questions before we close out? Okay, it looks like that is all the questions. I'm going to give you back about 15 minutes to your morning. I appreciate you joining us today. We'll see you next week when we start the Learn the Basics series. We'll be going over Google Drive next week. You guys have a wonderful week. If you're going, I'll see you on Wednesday. I'm excited to meet you. If not, we will see you next week and go over Google Drive. You guys have a wonderful week. Thank you so much.